What if I told you that the biggest economic crashes in history didn't happen randomly? What if someone figured out the pattern behind money decades before most people felt the pain? And what if that person lost everything first? This is not just the story of money. This is the story of how failure, humility, and systems thinking created one of the most influential investors in the world. This is the story of Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio didn't grow up rich. He wasn't born into Wall Street. He didn't inherit power. In fact, at 12 years old, Ray was working as a caddy at a golf course in Long Island. He carried bags. He listened. That's where he overheard wealthy golfers talking about stocks. One day, someone mentioned a company going public. Ray didn't fully understand it, but he felt something important. With $300, Ray bought his first stock. Soon after, the stock tripled. That moment planted a dangerous idea in his mind. There's a system behind money. Ray didn't know it yet, but that curiosity would shape his entire life. Ray studied finance. He went to Harvard Business School. And like many young talents on Wall Street, he believed intelligence alone was enough. He got a job at a major investment firm. And here's where the story takes a turn. Ray wasn't quiet. He wasn't submissive. He questioned authority. In one meeting, Ray openly challenged his boss, right in front of senior executives. The result? Ray Dalio was fired. No dramatic speech, no applause, just a door closing. For most people, this would be the end. For Ray Dalio, this was the beginning. After losing his job, Ray did something risky. He started his own firm. Not in a skyscraper, not with investors lined up, but from his apartment. That firm was called Bridgewater Associates. Ray wasn't trying to get rich fast. He was obsessed with understanding how economies work. He studied interest rates, debt cycles, inflation, human behavior. Ray believed markets were not chaotic. They were machines, and machines could be understood, or so he thought. In 1982, Ray became convinced of something terrifying. He believed the U.S. economy was headed for a major collapse. He told his clients. He positioned his firm for disaster. But the crash never came. Instead, the market boomed. Interest rates fell. Stocks surged. Ray Dalio was wrong, very wrong. Clients pulled their money. Revenue disappeared. Bridgewater was on the edge of collapse. At one point, Ray had to borrow money from his father just to survive. Imagine that. A Harvard-educated investor, reduced to asking his parents for help. Ray later called this moment the most painful experience of his life. Most people blame the world when they fail. Ray blamed himself. He asked a brutal question. How could I be so confident and so wrong? Instead of defending his ego, Ray did something rare. He wrote down his mistakes. He studied opposing views. He invited criticism. He searched for patterns that repeated across history. That's when Ray discovered something powerful. The economy moves in cycles. Human behavior repeats. Pain is a signal for learning. From this realization, Ray began creating what he called principles, rules for decision-making that removed emotion. These principles would later change everything. Ray rebuilt Bridgewater from the ground up, but this time it wasn't about opinions. It was about systems. Every decision was questioned. Every assumption was tested. Ray believed, if you can explain your decision logically, a machine should be able to make it. This thinking laid the foundation for systematic investing, long before AI became popular. Slowly, clients returned, then institutions, then governments. Bridgewater wasn't just surviving anymore. It was becoming something else entirely. Ray Dalio had learned from failure. He had built a system. But the real test was still ahead, because the world was about to face financial crises, debt explosions, and global instability. And Ray Dalio was about to become the man people listened to when everything started breaking. By the mid-1980s, Bridgewater was growing again. But Ray Dalio didn't want a normal company. He believed most organizations fail for one reason. People lie, especially to themselves. So Ray did something no major firm had ever done. He built a culture of radical truth. At Bridgewater, meetings were recorded. Ideas were openly challenged. Titles didn't matter. The best idea won, not the loudest voice. Ray believed honesty wasn't cruel. He believed dishonesty was. Many people couldn't handle it. Some quit. Others stayed and became sharper thinkers. Bridgewater wasn't just a hedge fund anymore. It was an idea factory. Ray Dalio noticed something unsettling about humans. We panic. We overreact. We repeat mistakes. So Ray asked a bold question. What if we remove emotion from decision-making entirely? He began turning human logic into rules, then rules into models, then models into algorithms. Long before AI was mainstream, Bridgewater was running machine-driven strategies. If conditions changed, the system adjusted. No fear, no ego, no guesswork. This wasn't gambling. It was engineering, and it worked. In 2008, the world froze. Banks collapsed. Homes were lost. Careers disappeared overnight. Fear dominated everything. But while chaos spread, Bridgewater remained calm. Ray Dalio's models had studied debt cycles across centuries. They recognized the warning signs. As others panicked, Bridgewater protected capital. Institutions noticed. Governments noticed. Ray Dalio became one of the most trusted voices during the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. From this moment forward, Bridgewater was no longer just big. It was essential. By the 2000s, Bridgewater Associates reached a historic milestone. It became the largest hedge fund in the world, managing over $100 billion. But Ray Dalio didn't celebrate like a billionaire. He warned. He spoke openly about debt accumulation, wealth inequality, currency debasement, the rise and fall of empires. Ray believed money wasn't just finance, it was power, and power always shifts. After decades of secrecy, Ray Dalio did something unexpected. He went public. He released his life's framework in a book called Principles. It wasn't about getting rich. It was about decision-making, failure learning, systems thinking. The book exploded. CEOs read it. Students studied it. Athletes applied it. Ray Dalio was no longer just an investor. He was a teacher of thinking. In recent years, Ray Dalio has spoken less about markets and more about history. He compares modern America to past empires before decline, not to scare people, but to prepare them. His message is simple. Those who don't study history experience it. Ray doesn't predict the future. He studies patterns, and patterns don't care about opinions. Ray Dalio didn't win because he was always right. He won because he learned faster. He embraced failure, removed ego, built systems that outlast emotions. His true legacy isn't money, it's a way of thinking. Because in a world full of noise, the people who survive are the ones who understand how the machine really works. Ray Dalio didn't predict the future. He prepared for it. And that made all the difference. This video is created for educational and informational purposes only. If you found this story valuable, please like the video. It really helps the channel reach more people. And if you think someone else would enjoy this story, share it with them.